North Carolina is recognized Chairwoman Foxx.
I'm a huge fan, and you will be a tremendous loss to us, but I know you'll continue to serve in places where you think that's appropriate. So thank you very much. Mr. Hurwitz, one of my questions is, how often do inmates enter or leave the special housing unit or come in contact with the public?
I think if you mean come in contact with the public, meaning that they're outside of our facilities, generally our inmates are not in contact with the public unless they are our lowest security inmates, often usually at a minimum security camp. Sometimes they go out on community service projects from those camps. That does happen on occasion. Sometimes they're in contact with the public if public come to the institution and they may be outside the institution cleaning the grounds or whatever. Inmates at higher level security facilities generally do not come in contact with the public. There are some situations where they may receive a furlough under our furlough policy and would potentially come in contact with the public because they would be sent out that way as well. While they're in our custody. Now, inmates then eventually may be released to a residential reentry center. They're still in our custody, and of course they would come into contact with the public on a very regular basis because they're in the community in that case.
I'm sorry if I missed this earlier, and you may have said it, but what percentage of BOP staff is female?
The BOP staff female is around, our female staff are about 27%.
And what percentage of those are in direct contact with inmates? I mean, you may have, what percentage of that staff is administrative and never come in contact with an inmate?
Right. I don't know the exact number there. Most of them, though, work in the institutions, and all of our staff that work in institutions come in contact with inmates on a daily basis.
Okay. The OIG's report recommended establishing a specific female post at prisons with female inmates. Do you agree with this recommendation, and explain why? And if you do agree with it, what have you done to take action on it?
Thank you, ma'am. We agreed with the recommendations from of each of the recommendations that the OIG issued. In terms of staffing, female staffing in certain posts, we're looking into right now different options on how to make female staff more available to do searches and things like that, which was the basis of the IG's finding, to ensure that we can meet those needs rather than having female staff having to go across the compound, for example, to perform a search, things like that. So we're looking at different options to find a way to do that, and then once we figure that out, we'll be issuing a new policy to put that in place, and we'll be reporting to the IG at the end of the month with our status on that.
Mr. Horowitz, if there aren't specific female posts filled, do you have any additional recommendations for this issue since your report has been made?
Well, I think it is a significant challenge because, as we found when we went on site and did this review, it creates disruption to the entire prison system when female inmates need to be searched coming back from a visitation or in a SHU, in a special housing unit, as you indicated, Congresswoman, and pulling the staff off makes little sense. Now, the problem is posts were designed based on seniority as opposed to needs, specific needs, and so that has to change. The alternative is to hire more female correctional officers and staff to do that, but that, frankly, would be, in some respects, inefficient. The better way to do it is to figure out the inefficiency and address it and not spend more money unless it's absolutely needed.
Thank you very much. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.